Alright, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the creation of EduNoggle. My name is Gregory, and I'm the team lead for this project. With me here today is my Scrum Master, Saheedat Bello, and my two senior software developers, Broderick, and Adrien and Andrade-Cain. Our client was Dr. Janelle Pearson-Campbell, and the overseers for this project were Professor Bello and Nathan LeBlanc. So a little background on the project. As many of you are aware, for the past couple of years in quarantine due to the pandemic, many have realized that there is a lack of academic resources that are targeting for online learning. As a result, many students felt like their education has been stunted during this time period. Our client decided to create the website EduNoggle to solve this problem. So what is EduNoggle? EduNoggle is a subscription-based educational website where students will be able to access resources that aid them in any of their current subjects, as well as help them with college preparation, as well as any career paths that they will pursue in the future. Their parents will also be able to have access to documents and videos in order to aid their students throughout their curriculums. Teachers will be able to, Teachers will be able to gain access to a discussion forum where they'll be able to share advice with other teachers in order to turn their online learning environment more accommodative for those who are struggling to adapt. Furthermore, EduNoggle is catering towards low-income families who might not be able to enroll in subscriptions for Pearson, Cengage, or other big corporations. And as you can see above me now is a system flow diagram of our website. We used React's user interface along with Node.js's server management accompanied with Firebase's user authentication and information storage. All of this amounted to creating a more dynamic user experience for anyone who uses our website. Let's break down the basics. What is React? React is an open source JavaScript library that has cross-language support, which allows us to program in HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript all within one file. In addition to that, React also tracks their own dependencies, which allowed us to have a more organized work environment. React also contains multiple frameworks as well as components that we used in our website. A framework that we looked into was React Native, which has the fundamentals of React, however, it was more mobile development friendly. This was a key factor in deciding to choose React due to our client sparking interest in turning our website to be more mobile dependent. Onto the components, we used the Navlink for our navigation bar, as you can see on the bottom of this slide, as well as the React player to host any videos and webinars. And we used the React discussion board to lay a foundation for the discussion forum accessible for teachers. Moving on to Node.js, it is another open source JavaScript environment that allows for cross-platform support, as well as allowed us to utilize dynamic testing. This was important during the development phase, as any hot fixes we made on the website were instantly reflected on the local host server. Node.js also allowed easy package installation and management with their personal package manager, known as NPM or Node Package Manager. Now on to Firebase, I would like to reintroduce my Scrum Master Saheedat. We'll go further into that, as well as our backend functionalities.
Thank you, Greg. So now that Greg has walked us through our front end, I'll be taking a quick jab into our backend functionalities, starting with Firebase. So you're going to get Firebase used a lot. We're going to mention Firebase a lot, so I'm going to be defining what Firebase is for you. So Firebase essentially is a backend as a software technology, and so it allows us functionalities and capabilities such as user authentication, web hosting, as well as data storage. And so what Firebase also is a cloud-hosted NoSQL database that allows us to store and sync user data in real time. So essentially how Firebase works is that data is stored as JSON files and then synchronized, like I mentioned earlier, to a connected client. So because it is an as-a-service technology, we don't have to worry quite much about user data security. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that soon. So starting with the overview of our application's architecture. This is the front end. So you can see here React and Material UI was used to create our login page, home page, and sign-up page, as well as account page forms. And so that's the skeleton of our login functionalities. So now that we have the skeleton, we're moving on to essentially the brain. So we're giving life to the login and the sign-up pages, and we're doing this so that users can be authenticated. And so once users are authenticated using Firebase's functionalities, they can edit their detail and have access to the other capabilities and functionalities of our website. So user data security. Because our application allows for users to enter the credentials by logging in order to use our product, this begs the question, how does Firebase keep our users' information safe when collecting it for authentication? So our solution was implementing role-based access control. So essentially in EduNoggle, we gave sets of permissions and sets of permissions and unwanted user access. So we essentially implemented, we implemented a blockage of access for unwanted users not to get access to our system. Also, one thing about Firebase is the API assists us in doing this. It protects against attacks such as SQL injections, which is, for those who don't know, an attack on a system's SQL build or database where malicious attackers can manipulate the data to do whatever they want. So given the root of the problem in SQL injections, in SQL injection attacks, by using Firebase, we don't have to worry about building an SQL command and in order to execute a query. Instead, we simply are passing a string that are automatically managed by the Firebase API. So long story short, SQL injection is not a problem here. So here is a screenshot of our console. This is what happens when a user logs in. Essentially, a user is redirected. Once they log in, their information is brought here to check if they're existing in the database and if they're authorized to have access to EduNoggle. And on your screen here, you can see our test accounts that we were using during the development of EduNoggle. And right here is the information that our users will have access to. So earlier I mentioned user authentication, storage, and hosting being capabilities that Firebase gave us. So this is us utilizing the storage capability. So we're storing all the information that teachers, students, educators will have access to in here. So just kind of explaining what I mentioned in the previous slide, this is an example of user authorization using signing up with their email and password. So a user enters their information and Firebase sends a one-time password to them, to their email address that they use to register. And once the authentication flow is completed and registration is successful, the data is sent to a website server, and the website server stores the data within their database. And over to Greg to talk about card transactions.
Thank you, Saheedat. As you guys can see above me right now, here's a sequence diagram on how we would have implemented our card transactions. It starts off with the user being redirected to the website, where the website will then send the order information from the payment page directly to our servers. The servers will then send a payment intention straight to a third-party corporation that will be dedicated to handling the transaction, in which the third party will acknowledge the payment intent straight back to the servers, who will then verify it onto our website. At this then, the users will be filling out the card credentials and finalizing the payment. Upon hitting the register button, the website would send all credit card credentials straight to the third party where the payment process will be attempted. Upon success, the third party will relay it straight back to the website, letting the users know that the card has been approved and the transaction was successful. During development, through the research and debate, my team and I decided that it would be in everyone's best interest if all the microtransactions were dealt by the third party rather than trying to create a gateway. And now my team and I would like to showcase a live demo of our website. So right from the get-go, we have the home page accessible by everyone who enters EduNoggle's web link. Here we have the sign-up page that will be accessible, as well as EduNoggle's mission down on the bottom. And if I could redirect your attention to the navigation bar, there's the home page and About Us. Upon clicking on About Us, the user will be granted information more about our founders, as well as further into her mission statement. If the user wants to contact EduNoggle in any way, shape, or form, an email is provided, as well as a phone number. We're going to move on now to the login feature, where the user will be prompted with a login information such as the email and password. However, if they do not have an account with us, they'll simply click on the Create Account button. Here they will be prompted to enter their name, email, the desired username, and the password to go along with the account. Then we'll continue on to the payment process. Upon clicking on payment, the user is given an accordion tab of all available roles that they can select from, whether it be students, parents, or teachers. And upon further investigation and deciding on which roles they want, they'll simply click on one of the three green buttons labeled students, parents, or teachers. It is then there that the website would let the user know how much each subscription costs. At the moment, each one costs $10 per month. So the users will be filling out their card credentials as well as billing address, hitting the register button, which will be sending their card transactions straight to the third-party company. For the sake of this demo, my team and I have created an account in order to showcase all possible features. So we'll be logging in now. After logging in, we're redirected back to the home page. However, now it is more populated and our navigation bar is a lot more crowded. Focusing on where the sign up button used to be. Now, as you can see, there are buttons redirecting you to students, parents, and educators. Ideally, once the user creates an account, only one of the buttons will appear. However, for demo purposes, all three of them show up. We'll just walk through the navigation bar, starting off with the webinar page. As you can see, we're able to host videos through YouTube and an unsolicited link or a public link. Well, upon clicking on the video will play. But if the user does not want to see this particular video, they simply click on the playlist icon and select recording video to their satisfaction. We're going to move on to the For Students page, dedicated for the students account. As you can see, here are core curriculums such as math, world history, we have science, and English. Clicking on any of these view buttons on the cards will redirect the user to an associated PDF or document for their academic needs. Going back onto our website, we're going to move on to the Parent tab, which seems similar to the Students tab. However, all these documents will pertain in assisting the students actually learning a bit more in depth on the courses at hand. So we're going to move on to educators. And this is where we have our discussion 4. As you can see right now, it's being populated by Jane and John Doe. However, we're very easily able to create a new post by clicking on Add New Post. We can enter something like Edunogo Rocks, Edunogo School, something along those lines. And scrolling down, hitting the Submit button, just like that. Edunogo admin has created a post called Edunogo Rocks with the exact time, date, and timestamp of the submission. Now we're going to move on to the second part of the teacher bundle, which is for educational leaders. Here, educators are able to access an academic database where they'll be able to read documents to help them accommodate their virtual classrooms for those who are struggling to adapt. And then once our users are finished with their account management or discoveries, they can simply hit the lock sign up button and be redirected to an unsigned in version of Edunogo. This is going to wrap it up for the demo, and I'd like to give the microphone back to Saheedat, who will go further in depth on the tools used.
So in order to help us achieve building EduNoggle, we utilize HTML, CSS, JavaScript, as well as the React.js library for our front-end tools. And for back-end, we utilize Node.js as well as Firebase's API. And for team communication, we use Google Drive as well as Discord. And communicating with the client, we utilize Outlook as well as Zoom. And finally, for development, we use VS Code Editor as well as Jira and Bitbucket. And at this point, that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?